Welcome to part 2 of the Intro to Account-Based Marketing. In the last video, we went over what is broken around the traditional sales flow of marketing, sending leads to sales team, the sales team closing good and bad deals that go over to customer success or customer delivery and the challenges it causes. And we highlighted what account-based marketing is and how it breaks down the silos to align the organization. In this video, we're going to talk about the customer analysis portion. So again, in the last video, we talked about building an exact target list of the people, the companies, the organizations you want to go after. And in this video, we're going to tell how that works. I'm going to share with you some experience that I have in building those lists. So the first thing I see is that when you interview somebody from a marketing team, you interview somebody that's on the sales team, and you say, who is your target client? What you almost get, or sometimes it comes out more generically, who do you sell to? Who's your audience? A lot of times the marketing person might have an ideal customer profile, and it's a lot of things about the demographics and psychographics, and it got created many years ago, and sometimes, or a lot of times, they haven't looked at it since. The newest marketing team or members can't even repeat what that customer profile is. They're continuing to run campaigns and do all of the other marketing activities that they have. And then you ask the salesperson, well, who do you sell to? A lot of times the initial answer, I'm guessing 9 times out of 10, is everybody. We sell to everybody. And the reality is, when you look at the data, this is grossly inaccurate. What this is opportunistic selling. If somebody comes to me, I will try to close the deal. And what's really happening is, a lot of times they're not closing a lot of deals. They're not hitting the quota. And there's just a misalignment in who they think the client is based on who's just coming inbound and filling out a form versus who the client really is. So what we've done at Epic Culture and in working with other entrepreneurs to really dig into this is we do a customer analysis. The data doesn't lie. We'll go get a list of every client that a company has had in the past 3 years, and we put that into a spreadsheet. Then what we do is we start to augment that data, and things get really, really clear really fast. So as we augment that data, what we do is we take each one of those companies, we go out to LinkedIn, and we just look at the published information on them. So we get the LinkedIn URL for the organization. We'll get the number of employees listed on LinkedIn. That's how many have actually created a LinkedIn profile and linked to the company. We look at the stated employee range on LinkedIn. So in the sheet that I'm sharing now, are they 5,000 to 5,001 to 10,000, 10,000 plus, 11 to 50? What is the LinkedIn range that they're claiming? Now this is a drop down that they can claim. Sometimes we see incongruencies. That's why we get the number of employees actually listed. We get things like state, the LinkedIn industry. We'll look at region. We'll look at the source. If they have source information of where that lead came from, we're going to capture that. And this is just a small sample of the data that we go out and put together for the demographic and additionally the psychographic study of the actual client, the contacts that we spoke to. Once you put this together, once you analyze the data, some very strong trends appear. For example, a lot of people say, oh, we sell everywhere. We sell to, maybe they're on the East Coast like us, they're in Georgia. Oh yeah, we got clients in California. When you look at the data, oftentimes you'll find that, yeah, that's true. They may have a client in California or 2 clients, but they have significantly more clients on the East Coast. There's all kinds of challenges with selling across the time zone. There's a lot more competitors that are close to them. There's all kinds of challenges just across the board in this thinking. So really, we dig into the data, and once we look at the data, we're going to use this to align marketing and sales. We're going to come up with the sweet spot, and we're going to grade these. It's not to say that if you get an inbound lead, you shouldn't work with the company. That's one of the common misconceptions about the whole program is when I start telling people, here's who you should be marketing to, here's who you should be calling based on the data, they're like, but Josh, we have customers outside. Look, if you're getting inbound leads, follow up on those inbound leads. But if you're spending marketing budget and you're doing outbound cadences and sales cadences, you want to know who your A target clients are. And in ABM, we rank those. I like A, B, C, and F in our rankings. And A, B, C, and F means different things. A means we're going to spend a lot more time and money targeting them. B, a little less. C, even less. And F, we're going to spend $0 targeting that prospect or that company and person. So again, look at the data for who you've actually worked with. Do the analytics and be able to narrow this down. So what is some example outcomes of a study like this? This is just a sample piece of data that I pulled. This could be tens or even hundreds of companies in the last 3 years, depending on your company's size. So what you start to get is the information that you really need on how you want to target. The example here with just this small data set is the employee range for companies that this organization had actually worked with was skewed in a couple of different ways. One, majority of the companies that they had worked with were 10,000 plus organizations. So they're going after the enterprise. They want enterprise level customers. After that, the secondary was 5,001 to 10,000 person companies. Then you had 1,001 to 5,000, which is 1, at least in this data set, and then 51 to 200. So in this case, there's a very clear delineation that they really work with companies that are 5,001 employees or more. And this has all kinds of ramifications in the delivery as well. We'll talk about some of these ramifications in later videos, but to just give you a quick example, the way that you deliver a service or a product to a 10,000 person company and the legal, the sales cycle, everything is different than a 51 to 200 person company. Fundamentally different across the board. And amazing sales organizations, great companies know this. And they know that by deciding to exclude certain groups, they're going to create repeatability in their customer success and in creating wow experiences. Another one in this data set that pops out is the time zone. Again, yes, they sold to some people in other time zones, but in reality, 15 out of this group, 15, which is the majority of this group out of 19, 20, 21 people here, were 21 companies, were in the Eastern time zone. This company was in the Eastern time zone. Most of their customers tend to fall in the Eastern time zone. That's a very strong trend that we see. And that also tells you why people end up opening up other offices in other time zones, because it's better to work with somebody local. It's easier to work with people that are in the same time zone if they're comparing you versus other competitors. Other things that come out of this are industries. So in the analysis, especially with this data or this small sample that I've just used as an example, you'll see lots of healthcare and hospitality. So there's a skew to certain industries. As we talked about in the last video, that really changes up the content model. You're now not creating generic content as a marketing team. You're now creating content that speaks to executives, at this level at least, executives that are in a hospital and healthcare industry, an aviation industry, whatever industries you've sold into. And it takes a lot of time to create tailored content. So you don't want to just build generic content that's trying to speak to everybody, but actually, conveying a message to nobody. Last one I'll share in here, and there's all sorts of other data that gets narrowed down, but the state that people are in. State has a lot to do with it. Most companies sell local. They have customers in other areas, but they have their largest penetration in certain states. That may be a state where a sales rep is located. It may be a state where the headquarters is. But what you'll find is, given the regions, the time zones, the employee count, all of that, you can start to build a very clear picture of who you've actually sold to. You can even dig deeper and say, out of the people we've sold to, who have been some of the worst customers? Can you tease out information either demographic or psychographically or based on, general information like size that indicates you would not want to do business or that your company's just not built to do business with an organization of that size? So I hope that this has been helpful for you in understanding the difference in we sell to everybody and the reality of what the data shows. And in order to do this, you take this data and we're going to use this to go then do our data mining and our list building, which I'll talk about in our next video.